Welcome back to more Reddit stuff. This one, I haven't done this kind of thing where it's a question on Reddit. When did your we need to get out feeling save you? I've had those feelings a couple times. It's like, yeah, I don't want to do this. And a lot of times nothing happens or nothing happens. And here's the thing. Who's to say if I hadn't done it, something would have happened? So a lot of people say, well, nothing happened. You ruined it. But then let's say you had a time machine, go back and do it, and everyone dies. So you never know. The fact that you didn't go is the reason nothing happened. If you had gone, everyone would be dead except for you or something like that. But yeah, I've gotten those feelings, and there have been times where it did something did go down. I was like, I'm glad I wasn't there. Like there was one time we were supposed to go to a club, and there was a shootout at that club, and we didn't go. Yeah. It wasn't just me that time. I don't know why we ended up none of us wanted to go for some reason. It's just like a bad vibe type of deal was going around. But let's see what kind of whose feelings saved who. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and let's get into it.
When did a feeling of, we need to get out of here immediately, save you? I was getting a beer with a friend, and he brought along his friend. When we left, I felt very drunk, despite only having 2 drinks. They wanted me to come to their hotel as they were getting ready to go to a concert that night, but I made the excuse that I needed to get home because I think I left my oven on. My beer was 100% tampered with. My vision felt like I was in a tunnel. I got home in an Uber and immediately threw up and continued to do so for the rest of the night. Dude, if you're not feeling well at any point, freaking go home. Story 2.
Wait a minute. I missed something in that story. I'm going to play that story again. Hold on a second.
Feeling of, we need to get out of here immediately, save you. I was getting a beer with a friend, and he brought along his friend. When we left...
Okay, so is he implying that the friend slipped him something? I'll be honest, I'm kind of a little confused. Is he saying the friend did it or someone else did it? Because it may not have been that friend. That's why I'm a little confused on this one. I was waiting for there to be more like, hey, like, turns out he was trying to kill me and he ended up killing my friend or something like that. That was kind of disappointing. I'm going to be honest with you. So let me skip ahead.
I made a somewhat late night trip to a convenience store that I knew carried wine. I used to work really odd hours, and sometimes late at night I'd finish my work and want to have a few drinks. As I was getting back in my truck, this young girl asked if I could give her a ride a few blocks back to her home. It was probably a bad idea to judge a book by its cover, but she was pretty young and dressed decently. Didn't act too weird or anything, so I figured okay.
I don't like giving strangers rides. There was one time my sister was visiting me and she was outside and she saw the girl. This girl was arguing with her boyfriend and wanted me to give her a ride. And I wanted to yell at my sister. Like, my sister's a softie. I was like, you don't know. This could have been a setup. It could have been a setup to get you to go somewhere. Like enough, she didn't know the area. She was visiting me. I drove. I kept my head on the swivel. Took her, this girl, wherever she goes. It all worked out. But there have been setups like that. So you got to be careful. I'm the type that's like, I'd rather just err on the side of caution. Like, nah, get an Uber, get a taxi. Well, this is before Uber, but I would have been like, get a taxi. But that's my sister.
Back and we get into a pretty rough part of
See? Pretty rough part of town. Yeah, no, I would have stopped and be like, get the fuck out. I'm like, get out. I'm done. Get out.
town, and she says turn left up here. Very dark street. Whatever. I stop and she says she really appreciated the ride and wanted to do something for me. She asked if she could help me out a little bit, and I decline and start getting sketched out. Like she needs to get out now. She gets out and closes the door as I drive away. 2 men dressed in dark clothing were just stepping towards the street and stared at me as I drove past. Pretty sure that would have ended with a gun in my face. That's what you get for being nice sometimes. Story 3.
See, that's what I was talking about. That felt like a setup from the start. People, you got to pay attention. A lot of people don't have situational awareness at all. And those are the ones that generally get in trouble or get other people in trouble. If your gut is telling you something's off, listen to it. Even if it turns out you're wrong, listen to it.
All speculation since we didn't actually end up getting kidnapped, but when I was 19 and traveling solo in Europe, I met this Australian girl in Spain who was also around 18, and we went to Italy together. We are both short, petite girls, and were very clearly in need of a place to stay. We missed our first ferry out of Barcelona, so we had to take the next one. When we arrived in Italy, our train was hours late, and we didn't get into Rome until around 1 to 2 a.m. We navigated the sketchy streets by the Termini train station and finally found our hostel. The check-in lobby was a small, dingy room that appeared to be a closet. The man working reception looked us up and down and told us there was no room for us anywhere since we were late, but suggested we stay in their sister hotel. Desperate, we agreed. He took us downstairs back to the alleyway where we were greeted by a large...
I don't understand. I'm going to be a little racist. I'm just put it out there. I bet they were white. Because when Italy treats anyone who's not white like crap, Italy's a horrible place to go. I never hear anything good about it, especially if you're not white. So, and 9 times out of 10, people who are doing this traveling around Europe thing are white. I'm sorry. It just not appeal to me to travel to all these foreign countries because the laws are different in every single country. And you can get to some situations. And that's what it sounded like they were getting into.
Man in dirty clothing. They spoke to each other in a language other than English or Italian and led us outside. We walked down a couple alleyways until we got to an unmarked door on the side of a building. One of the men made a phone call, again speaking in a different language. We found it odd since everyone could speak English, but they chose to speak in a language we didn't understand. A man cracked the door open just enough to poke his head outside, and upon seeing the other men fully opened the door and let us in. We walked down the stairs into the sunken room, which was lit by black.
The fact that you went this far with this person shows you have no situation awareness. This story is, let's say legitimately this story is 100% true, you're an idiot. You're just a straight up idiot.
Lights.
I actually tell my daughter, if you meet people like this, run. Do not be friends with them. How are you going to go? Everything you're describing is a red flag and you should have stopped. It should have stopped right then and there. But no, you just keep going.
At this point, it was me, my friend, and 3 large men. The reception was a dirty room containing a couch with some dirty sheets laid over it. They told us the rooms were in the basement and to follow them. We walked down a set of stairs. One man in front followed by my friend, followed by another man behind her, followed by myself, and the last man behind me. We went down one flight of stairs to find that there was yet another flight of stairs going down to a closed door. At this point I lost it, and my friend and I pushed past the men and scrambled back upstairs. The men kept shouting at us that the rooms were downstairs, but the scenario seemed way too wild. We eventually found an Australian couple on the street who brought us to their expensive hotel where we booked a room. The next day we searched the internet for the sister hotel they brought us to. Can't remember the name they gave us. We found the hostel online, but it was very clear that this wasn't where they brought us. The hostel boasted beautiful views of the city, so clearly a few levels above ground, and was immaculate. We were definitely in some weird blacklit dirty basement. Not for sure that we were going to get kidnapped and sold into the trade that night. Ugh.
That's because you were. You were about to get kidnapped. Why'd you... Stop being stupid. Stop being stupid. It's that simple. Just stop it. Your every instinct was screaming at you and you ignored it. You just kept ignoring it.
That many creepy men and different doors and hallways and paths and locations, and then they make you walk down several flights of stairs? I mean, the cardio alone is scary enough, but good God, glad you got out of there. Story 4. A friend and I had just seen a midnight movie. It was about 2:30 a.m. when I pulled into a gas station to grab a Yoo-Hoo. I grabbed the bottle, turned around, and saw 3 men enter the store together. One waited by the doors. One stood near the register looking at chips. And the third was crouched down with his back to the employee door so the cashier wouldn't see him through the square window in the door. They all look at me at once, and then try to ignore me, acting like they're just casually positioned.
That's when you put the drink back. What do you say? That's when you put the drink back and leave. You just leave. Just leave. Get out of there.
around the cashier and door. I walk up, put my Yoo-hoo on the counter. The cashier turns the scanner and basically tells me with his eyes, "You do it." I bring myself up, drop money on the counter, and walk as normally as I could past the man by the door and out to my car at what seemed like the furthest pump from the store. I sit down, throw my Yoo-hoo at my buddy, and hit the emergency button in my car that calls 911. I connect with dispatch and report a possible robbery. A mile or two later, I see a cop car flying down the street in the direction we just came. I called non-emergency the next day to ask what happened, and they said the men fled after I left, and the cashier told the police he knew he was about to get robbed too, and to thank me for calling the police. That felt good. What didn't feel good was my buddy, in all his nervousness about what was unfolding as he was listening to me recount everything to dispatch. Thought I just gave him a random Yoo-hoo and chugged that thing down like a starving infant with a bottle. Edit. Lots of people asking what Yoo-hoo is. It's a drink in the US that tastes like watery chocolate milk. But shut up, it's delicious. Oh.
No, it's not. It's disgusting. Honestly, I don't even think it's around anymore. I don't know why people like that crap. It was disgusting. Don't lie. It was disgusting.
So people asking about what kind of car I had with the emergency button. It was a 2002 Chevy. The service is called OnStar and came/comes standard on tons of GM cars. I currently drive a 2020 Subaru and it has the same thing, only it's called Starlink. Story 5. I was about 11 or 12 years old at a neighbor's house. The sun had already set. It wasn't completely dark yet, but it was close and there was less light by the second. We were sitting on the...
I'm watching this game. What game is this? I want to know what game this is, actually.
Loved watching the sky turn from day to night, just talking and giggling and carrying on as little girls do. A truck drove up our street, slower than usual, but not suspiciously slow. Still, I felt my guts sink in for some reason. I didn't understand. A couple minutes later, it passed by again, and then again after another few minutes, though not quite as slow this time. I was 100% positive it was the same truck, so I watched it drive away and
I have told my daughter and my son, if you constantly keep seeing the same car over and over, tell someone. They're up to something.
Noticed it started slowing down. I told her to get up, and when the truck made another U-turn and started heading towards us again, I told her to run and hide. I don't know if she realized what she was hiding from, but we ended up splitting in two directions. She dove behind a bush, and I crouched behind an old car parked in their driveway. We could see each other, and I had a clear shot to the door if I needed to dart in to get a parent. We heard the...
Why don't you just go in the house? Well, they're kids, but still, you should have just went in the house.
Truck roll up and stop in front of her house. Someone got out of the truck and started calling for us. I honestly don't remember what they were asking though. We just kept our eyes locked and tried to stay as still and quiet as possible. We probably should have screamed, but I think we were both too scared. The person eventually got in their car and took off. We stayed hidden for what felt like forever, eyes locked, until finally we felt safe enough to run inside. I don't know what would have happened if I didn't notice something and we booked it, or if that person was actually dangerous or not. But I'm glad that I'll never find out. Story 6. Not my feeling, but whatever. It was at a goose fair in Nottingham in the early
Goose fair? Nottingham? This must be in England.
2000s. I was there taking pictures for my art course, and my BF at the time fancied himself as a bit of a hardman. Liked to make out that he was trained or whatever.
Hard man? Yeah, I don't know any of these terms. I think this is over in England.
For over 17 years, I thought that I had a problem with this, but I actually didn't.
Anyway, after about 20 minutes, he made me leave. Said that crap was about to go down. Huge eye roll. Whatever, dude. Okay, we'll leave. I see in the news the next day that a 14-year-old girl was shot dead there not long after we left. I don't know what kind of training he had, like the fact that she had to eye roll and kind of, write it off, but clearly whatever his intel was, it was good. Yay, that sucks. Story 7.
Well, that's sad. But, again, I want to know how he knew some stuff about to go down. And also, in the story, like, he's still making fun of his friend. Your friend just saved your life, most likely. Got you out of the situation. You're still making fun of him. Oh, man. Gratitude.
I was at a house party in high school and things were getting very rowdy. Tons of people just trashing the place, and I just had a bad feeling. Told my friends we should leave, but none of them would listen. I remember going out to my car, and as soon as I got in, the cops pulled up. I ducked down and waited for them to get up to the front door and just drove off without them even noticing. Several of my friends spent the night in jail or hiding in the woods that night. I slept comfortable in my bed. Story 8.
All right, I'm going to stop it right here. I might make a couple more Reddit stories out of this one. But yeah, that was pretty good. That last one, because I've actually been in a situation like that where like I'm leaving and we left and some stuff like a fight broke out later on. I was like, oh man, we missed a fight. But also later found out the cops got involved and people got arrested and people who weren't involved in the fight got arrested. So, my idiot friends at the time, they probably would have got themselves arrested too. But yeah, it was just a weird situation to be in. But yeah, if your gut feeling's telling you something's off, just listen to it and get out of there. Just get the hell out of there. It's that simple. If it turns out you're wrong, you're wrong. I'd rather err on the side of caution, but that's just me. All right, everyone, don't forget to like and subscribe, and everyone take care. Later.